it's Erica back on the Altenew YouTube channel. I'm so happy to be here with you, and today I thought we would have a look at the absolutely gorgeous Arched Foliage Craft Your Life kit. So let's open this, and this kit comes in one of these storage sleeves, so that's always good to have. So first off, we have a gorgeous 3D embossing folder called, well, this is called Arched Foliage, right? So it creates this like stunning sort of textured background. Then we have this gorgeous big stamp, and it's got some really great sentiments in it as well. So there is surround yourself with people who feel like sunshine, just a note, and it's just beautiful. Right, we also have a coordinating die cut, and also coordinating layering stencils, and I thought we would create this or recreate that, and we are going to use the actual ink colors in the suggestion. So we're going to use some permanent black. We are also going to be using some Desert Night and the Morning Frost. We are also going to be using Sweet Leaf, and we are going to ink blend this with the layering stencils. To hold our paper in place, we are going to use the new 9 by 9 inches, the skinny, ultra sticky pen. Oh, hello, you can see my face in the plastic. And this is super, super sticky. So we are going to put this down, and then we're going to put a piece of cardstock there, and then we're just going to get ink blending. So with these, we're going to speed this up just a little bit now. With these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to like keep an eye on where the actual lines are, and then we are going to start with our Sweet Leaf. I'm going to be using a new ink blending tool in this one because I have not used the Sweet Leaf before. So we are going to kind of create or recreate the kind of the inspiration look on the back of the packaging. So we are going to use this Sweet Leaf green, and then also the Desert Night ink. So we're going to use both of the stencils for this arched sort of the foliage part, and we are going to use both colors on both layers. And the reason we're going to do this is to kind of create a really fun sort of almost glowy look. Now these two colors work so incredibly beautifully together. Now we're going to peel off stencil number 1, and we're going to go for stencil number 2. So we are going to use the etched outlines on the stencil to make sure that we put everything into place, and then we are also going to make sure that it's lining up with where we put our first stencil. So that is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do the two ink colors together. We're going to do it kind of like a little bit all over the place, so not like completely even. We want the two colors to blend into each other so that you get that kind of, it's almost like a bit of an ethereal look with the two colors on each leaf. You know, what if you wanted to do one color per stencil, you know, obviously do whatever you feel like your creativity where it's taking you. Just listen to that like little voice in your head, especially if it's like raring to go and like, woo, let's do this. But if you wanted to recreate this look, you do the two colors a little bit here and a little bit there, and then you kind of go over with one of the colors again to kind of blend those two colors together, and then you end up with something like this. Okay, that was super, super cool look. I really, really love how this turned out. Now, I thought while we were on a roll and we had those stencils out, why not do another one? Now, I did first think I was going to be using the Stamp Wheel 2.0 Grippy Mat, but because my piece of cardstock is actually 8.5 by 8.5, there wasn't really much space left on the sticky mat for the stencil to hold on to. So we are going to be using a little bit of the purple masking tape. So when you're using this technique here, what you might want to do is line up your corners. So on one side of the paper, whichever one, you line up your corners and make sure that those are perfectly aligned, and then that is how you remember where to put your stencil next. So as long as you stick to the same corner, make sure that is where, that's like your reference point, you're going to be good to go. Now we're going to be doing a little bit of a rainbow, and we are going to be starting with Citrus Burst, which is our yellow color. And the reason I start with yellow is because generally that's when I do a rainbow, that's the one that's going to go in the middle, and I feel like yellow is probably the hardest to kind of keep light. That's probably the best way of putting it. So yellow is kind of like a color that just gets dirty really, really easily if you add too much color. So I tend to put down yellow first, and then I go with my other colors from there on. So we're going to go from top to bottom. We're going to do Sea Breeze, Sweet Leaf, Citrus Burst, Baby Pink, and Wisteria. And this is a really, really, really simple kind of ink blending technique, so you don't have to kind of go in and worry about any details or anything like that. We're just going to go in with a soft layer for your first one, and then we're going to place our stencil. We're going to line it up there in the right hand bottom corner, and then in the top right hand corner, and then we're going to place our tape back down, and we are just going to keep on ink blending. So here we are again, just doing exactly the same thing in almost exactly the same place as well. So every single color is going to go in about the same area. So we still want a really nice kind of gradient blending into each other. So the colors will still kind of go very, no, ombre is not the right word, obviously, because this is a rainbow, but we do want them to kind of blend in together as well as possible for a really soft kind of beautiful look. And then on one of the layers, what you can do is just go in like a little bit heavier with some of the colors here and there, just to kind of like add a little bit of zhuzh and pizzazz, you know. And then we're going to peel off the tape, and we're going to take off the stencil, and we're going to have a look at the gorgeousness. Okay, that turned out pretty cool, didn't it? So with this, we are now going to pop the sticky mat and the whole piece of paper. We're going to stick that back into our stamp wheel 2.0, and then we are going to take a lot of time to make sure that we are lining up our stamp in the perfect place. So this part is a little bit sped up, but in reality I spent close to a minute checking every single leaf, every little one, and we are adjusting, we are taking our time. We are going to make sure that this is exactly where it needs to go, and then we're going to pick it up with our lid, and we're going to stamp. So this is slightly nerve-wracking, because if you mess up, that is it, pretty much, you know. I mean, you can maybe kind of cut it out, and in some areas, you know, you can always put a big sentiment on there, or, you know, cover it up, but this worked out pretty good. So that time spent making sure that the stamp was lined up was well spent. Look at that. I'm so happy with how that turned out. Now, I did use a Silverstone ink rather than black, because I wanted like a really soft look with the rainbow. But yeah, oof, so good, so good. I'm absolutely loving this stamp set and this layering set. It's just so gorgeous. Now with the coordinating die cut, I did die cut that off camera, and then I managed to knock my camera a little bit, so you can see that the footage is slightly skewered, and I don't like it, but I will be fixing that in a little bit. Now we are going to take our gorgeous 3D embossing folder, and we are going to emboss some paper. Now I did do both one in, I think, Morning Frost, or I will have to double check the name of the cardstock, but it's one of the super, super soft gray ones. And I have also done one in white. So we are going to, on the Platinum 6, so this is the machine I have. I have a Spellbinders Platinum 6. On the sort of platform basis here, it will tell you exactly what you need in order to either die cut or emboss like we're doing, or 3D embossing folder. And it is so easy. It runs through so simple, and there's no kind of crazy arm workout when you do it properly, which I didn't used to, and I was wondering why that was so difficult. But that was piece of cake, and we still end up with absolutely stunningly detailed embossed images here, or embossed cardstock, sorry. Now we are going to be ink blending a little bit here on this one, and I do believe that I am using the Morning Frost ink. I could have maybe gone for a slightly darker one to kind of help speed along the process a little bit. And it does look a little bit blotchy here, but just bear in mind that, you know, it's going to need a little bit of time to dry. And so I'm not super worried about it, because once this is dried and kind of settled into the paper, it's going to be much, much smoother. Now, I did kind of obviously I realized a little bit sooner, but so this arched foliage branch, it is a little bit too big for an A2. So we are going to be very, very, very brave. Yes, we're going to be very brave indeed. And we are going to be doing a little bit of surgery on this later on. Yes, we are. Now, I will be also stacking and stamping and stacking some sentiments for our cards. So these are all from the stamp set themselves. And I decided to stamp up thank you and hugs. Now, one of those, this one here, I kind of, when I die cut it, it just slipped a little bit. So it wasn't kind of perfect. So I stamped a new one. And then I used that die cut to just stack my sentiment, because I do like a good raised stacked sentiment. It just adds a little something, doesn't it? You know, I just really like how it looks. But I thought what I would do is I would glue these together with the new glue coming very, very soon. And now, are you ready? Are you sitting down? Are you feeling brave? Whew, you haven't had too much caffeine, have you? We are going to get our little scissors. We're going to take a deep, deep breath. And then we're going to cut this. Yes, we are. Okay. I was so nervous to do this, especially after, you know, having ink blended and then, you know, taking all of that time to make sure that my stamp was perfectly lined up with the ink blending. And then, you know, number 3, we actually got the die cut to cut out perfectly as well. And now I am here with the scissors, chopping. I mean, oh, goodness me, okay. Whew. Yeah, it was a little bit stressful, not gonna lie. But I really wanted to get as much of this onto my card as possible, because it really just turned out so stunning. And with that sort of soft grey background and all of that like gorgeous texture, I really wanted to just, yeah, use as much of it as possible, because it just seemed like a shame to not, you know, squeeze it all in there. Now, of course, I could have I could have done the clever thing, and I could have done like a slimline card where I wouldn't have had to cut it, maybe cut it in half and like put a sentiment in the middle, and all of a sudden I'm like, why didn't you do that? But I don't know. But we're here now, so, you know, I know I've already got this, so we are, you know, we're committed to this now. We are. So I did decide to cut off just a tiny bit more, because again, I wanted to get as much color in as possible of all of the colors there. But the yellow part was a tad big, maybe, and I just felt like, you know, I could afford to kind of lose a little bit of that. So we are performing a lot of surgery on this, but spoiler alert, it works out in the end. So, you know, there's actually not that much of a need for me to be so dramatic about this, but hopefully this is keeping you at the edge of your seat, and like you're invested now, so you will stay and watch the rest of this card making. But now we are going to take all of these bits and pieces, and we are going to place them onto the background, and then we're going to glue all of this down. And then our cute little sentiment just fit perfectly in that kind of like little opening on the card, doesn't it? Now, I did actually do the other card very similar, and you know, we're gonna need to trim it a little bit here and there, but I didn't show you the other card sort of being finished off, because I just essentially did the same thing. So I ink blended and then stamped, but with black ink, and then I've done the same 3D embossing folder but with colored cardstock. And then we have added a sentiment, but then that one actually got like a strip of a sentiment as well. So it says hugs. And then the lovely quote from Maya Angelou that says, nothing can dim the light that shines from within. Now, I am going to add a few. And okay, so maybe I need to confess straight up here that a few for me, I mean, I think that this was like a few. I can see, you know, plenty of spaces where I can add more sequence, but this is like a normal smallish sprinkling of sequins for me. So yeah, okay. No, I'm gonna stick with that actually. And if you have seen like sneak peeks of these gorgeous sequins coming, but you don't know which ones to get, which ones will probably work best with like the majority of your projects, these clear iridescent ones are stunning. They just work so well with so many different projects. Now, if you're not a huge fan of iridescent, there's also the sparkling diamond. So they are completely clear, and they, oh, let me tell you, wow. They're absolutely stunning and beautiful, and I can highly recommend them. Now, I am loving the fact that there are 6 different sizes in these packages, so that you will have sequins and embellishments that will work for every single project that you will do. So this is our 1 card done, and here is our second. So the gray one, I say the gray one like, well, like they aren't both gray, but I have added or raised the blue and green ones with a little bit of instant dimension foam tape as well, just to have like a little bit of a different look. And that one is just completely done like directly onto a A2 panel. But that is it from me for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to hear if you have ever looked at the background inspiration from your Altenew packaging and thought, you know what, I'm gonna do that, and you have done it and you loved the result. Let me know down below in the comments, and I will see you very soon again. Bye for now.
Hey there, Lydia here. I really do hope that you've just enjoyed the video. If so, please subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, turn on the notification bell so you can get your daily dose of crafty techniques and tutorials just like this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.